To begin our design challenge, we started by defining cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is the adoption or use of elements of one culture by members of another culture. Elements are copied from a minority culture by members of the dominant culture, and these elements are used outside of their original cultural context, sometimes even against the expressed, stated wishes of representatives of the originating culture. We then interviewed some experts, starting with Carla Fredericks. Carla Fredericks is the Director of Native American Law at CU Boulder. She said, companies are using minority cultures as symbols for profit while neglecting to credit the cultures from which they are taking their ideas from. It's difficult for these cultures to fight back because of systematic oppression. In our interview with Fredericks, she focused on the way the media contributes to the systematic oppression of Native Americans and other minority cultures. She mentioned the poor coverage of the Dakota Access Pipeline in North Dakota as an example. Due to our economy and ultimately our society, news like this is rarely covered and even more rarely consumed. Instead, we choose to focus on cat videos and Brad and Angelina's breakup. However, celebrities are not without their flaws. Cultural appropriation has become quite mainstream among major celebrities. The issue with this is that white celebrities are using elements of another minority cultures to gain fame and become trendsetters, despite the fact that these symbols have been used by a minority culture for years. When a black celebrity like Zendaya wears locks to an awards show, she's criticized, but when a white celebrity like Miley Cyrus does the same thing, she's praised. To gain further insight into this issue, we then interviewed John Ball. John Ball is a successful entrepreneur involved heavily with Native American rights, specifically the 7 sacred rights of the Sioux Nation. When we asked him about the commodification of Native Americans and their symbols, he had this to say. The fact that people are still buying these goods, despite the insensitivity, highlights the lack of awareness that most people have toward cultural appropriation. We then wanted to ask him more about the Ralph Lauren ad campaign, which included several pages of photos of Native Americans with Ralph Lauren clothes photoshopped on them. In an article by Kim Bosson, she said, the ads reduced people and indeed entire cultures to mere marketing props. She went on to talk about the significance of the war bonnet, which is a feathered headdress worn by the warriors or leaders of many Native American tribes. Each feather was earned through making a sacrifice or an act of valor, making the bonnet a mark of great respect. Despite this, companies like Victoria's Secret, Elle Magazine, Chanel, Disney, and MAC have gone on to use the war bonnet and other Native American symbols in order to sell products. Meanwhile, the real-life meanings attached to certain items, customs, and historical figures got distorted or lost, and white Americans, for the most part, neither knew nor cared. When we asked Fredericks about the issue, she said people just have no awareness that Native American culture and Native American people are still living. She then brought up the Urban Outfitters Navajo line, which is a line that had several items that had prints that were Native American-esque that were all titled using the word Navajo. The Navajo tribe holds many trademarks on the use of its name, including those governing clothing and accessories. The nation also accused Urban Outfitters of violating the Indian Arts and Crafts Act, a law that protects Native American-made designs and goods from being ripped off and appropriated by prohibiting the misrepresentation and marketing of Indian arts and crafts products within the United States. Despite this, the Urban Outfitters lawyer argued that just as the term light beer is generic for a type of beer that is light in body or taste or low in alcoholic content and caloric content, Navajo is today a generic descriptor of a particular category of design and style. The court dismissed 2 of several claims filed against Urban Outfitters, and the court's reasoning was that Navajo is not famous enough as a tribe trademark for Urban Outfitters' use of it to qualify as delusion. In an article, Kim Tallbear said, "There's a pervasive idea that Native Americans are a thing of the past. The idea that Native Americans no longer exist makes it easier for society to ignore their voices, and that's exactly what happened in the Urban Outfitters Navajo line campaign. Given our research, we decided to answer the following question. How can companies incorporate other cultures' symbols in a celebratory manner rather than in a form of cultural appropriation? In our presentation, we will provide the steps toward a solution.